I got my homeboy Pete Frank with me. And we letting everybody know we got a dream. Yo, stay focused. Keep moving forward. It's on the way. Keep that dream alive. If you got a dream, don't look to the left, nor the right, nor the wrong.
Your faith is in Jesus. Completion is here before you even begin. Dreaming big of my life in the future. Already knowing that it's not far. Having the passion to work towards Jesus. I'm gonna keep my faith and swagger going hard. Don't turn right. Just push straight. You don't have to fear more.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Dr. Yolanda Jerry Show. I am your host, Yolanda, and it is yet again another Thursday, and we have yet again another special guest. So guess what? We have a very special guest tonight. And guess what? She lives over in the boot. Yep, I'm going to say it. She over in the boot. Y'all know the boot means Louisiana in the house. So guess what? It's about to be a real conversation tonight. I'm excited about having this young lady on the show and be able to connect with her and about her story and all the great things that she is doing. So look. Please share this broadcast. Please share this out. Tag a family, friend, cousin, neighbor. I don't care who you grab to come watch the show this afternoon or this evening, but bring them on in here because we want to be able to share her story, her heart, and everything that she has within her out to the world. So that way, guess what? You can continue to have an empowered life. So guess what? We'll be right back right after this commercial.
Welcome to the Dr. Yolanda Jerry Show, where you will hear stories from people who have experienced hell on earth and have walked past hell to share their stories. You will also hear what they are doing now and how their businesses, nonprofits, and ministries were birthed from their past trauma. So let's empower the world, one story at a time. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Yolanda Jerry.
And we back. You're back with the host, Dr. Yolanda Jerry. But before we bring on our guest and I introduce her to you all, I want to give a shout out to some people who are already tuning into the show. We have Frank Henderson in the house, Aaron Brunston, hello, Shalimar Green, praying for you. I know you're in the hospital. Christy Gilner in the house, Lisa Peters, hey, ATL, Patty Fields over there up north, Midwest. And look, we just going to get this party started tonight. All right, y'all. So guess what? As I said, we have a special guest from the boot, Louisiana, in the house. And her name is none other than Nadia Lindsay Francois. This woman is a serialpreneur with a heart for people. A hairstylist by trade, Nadia holds current licenses in cosmetology and barbering, a BS in business administration, and a certification in women's entrepreneurship. The Louisiana native began her entrepreneur journey at the age of 19 years old and has used her experiences and knowledge to help other business owners start and grow their ventures. Nadia continues to thrive and expand her beauty endeavors, Harris Hair Care Systems and Harris Beauty Lounge. Wow, she's a Beauty Lounge. I'm gonna have to check that out. In December of 2020, this trailblazer stepped out on faith and became a channel owner of What's Your Superpower TV, which also houses her talk show by the same title on Exposure TV Network. Nadia interviews powerhouse women and spotlight minority business owners. She continues to enhance her digital footprint with the addition of Power Conversations podcast and Power Conversations magazine, which are additional extensions of her media empire that caters to entrepreneurs and their advancement. This goal-getter contributes her success to Grace and Mercy. Her number one assignment is being the mother and sole provider for her 4 sons, the driving force behind her persistent hustle and diligent pursuit of greatness. Now, look, I done gave you this lady's professional bio, but we gonna bring her on to the show. Welcome, 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 Miss Nadia Francois in the house.
Hello. How are you?
I'm doing well, doing well. Well,
Great.
look,
Thank you for having me.
I'm excited about this. You know I'm excited. I'm all hype already because look, I mean, you're a native of Louisiana. What
Yes.
better way to have a show when somebody's in Louisiana? I can relate because I'm a native too, right out of New Orleans, Louisiana. So I done gave everybody your bio, Nadia, but I want you to tell us who is Nadia for real. Now give us the real deal because I'm like, I know you grew up in, you were in Louisiana, but some people don't know, what it's like to be a Louisiana native. And some people had tried to second guess or they try to downplay our little shine over there. So let us know a little bit more in depth about who are you.
Yes, ma'am. So, of course, as you stated, I am a Louisiana native, been here my whole life. Mother of 4 sons. I raised them for the past 15 years as a single parent on my entrepreneurial income. So that's just a little plug to let people know that it's possible. And, me personally, I'm just a dreamer, a girl that loves God, a girl that loves entrepreneurship and the pursuit of entrepreneurship. And so with that being said, I also love the female entrepreneur because, of course, walking in those shoes, it just shows me that we have such a difficult road with everything else that we have to do. And so it just opens my heart to want to pour into our female entrepreneurs and our upcoming entrepreneurs. And so that's just me. I love to give back. I love to travel. And I love Louisiana food.
Oh my goodness. Look, let me tell you something. If y'all don't love the Louisiana food, I don't know what to tell you. Because look, let me tell you, my fiance says y'all food is rich, but guess what? He eat it.
That's
it. So now you mentioned about you being a sole provider for your 4 sons, right?
Yeah.
Now, if you don't mind telling us, so your son's little, they're middle age?
No, they're actually older now. They are the oldest. My twins are 20. Then I have a 19-year-old and I have a 15-year-old.
Okay. So you got them spread out a little bit. So you got to let help to keep the younger one down, wrap them the wraps, So that's awesome. So how do your sons feel about mom doing all these great things?
They actually love it. They do. Just since they've been living, of course, I have been an entrepreneur far before that, but all their lives they have had to endure all of my ventures. So, I make them work with me. And I did say make them work with me with everything that I do. I show them how to give back. I show them about entrepreneurship. I don't make them be an entrepreneur though, but just to be able for them to see which road they want to go, but at least letting them know that they can do it all on their own.
Amen. Well, at least they know that there's if they decide to not work for the corporate world, at least they know they can go out and they got mama there. They help them get their journey started as an entrepreneur. That's awesome. Welcome, Paula. Paula's in the house. Thank you so much for sharing. So one of the first questions that I normally ask my guests every time they come on my show, and this kind of steers into what our actual topic is going to be tonight is, after I already asked you about where you're from, the next question is, what is that moment or that traumatic experience that you had to endure, throughout life that really, really just knocked you down? And then, how did you have to go through that journey?
Of course, it was, well, one of the instances that I feel is still playing out is me going through a divorce at the age of 28 and then having my children to care for. And it wasn't so much going through a divorce or caring for my children, but it was the fact that when me and my ex-husband divorced, he not only divorced me, but he divorced his kids as well. And so that was really, and still is really hard for me to deal with as a mother, because of course, when you're birthing children or thinking about having children, of course, people always say men want boys and they love their boys and this, that, and the third. And, and then I had 4 boys and he just up and left, never to look back. And it was just, a lot of questioning my self-worth, questioning why God did you allow me to be able to have all these children, be married, and then I have to go through all of this by myself. And so it was because I'm an only child. Well, I'm my mother's only child. And so, thank the Lord that I still had my grandmothers, to help me through that. My grandmothers, my aunts, the family to support me through the days that I didn't have anything, and it was just a really rough situation for me to handle mentally more than the physical stuff.
Now, I know, from personal experience, because I've been through divorce too, what it's like to be a single parent and have to be the sole provider for, one child, but you say 4. I can't even imagine just the weight that you have to bear just having to take care of not 1 but 4. That's 4 mouths to feed. That's 4 kids' clothes you have to buy. That's 4 extracurricular activities that they desire to do that you're going to have to find a way to push through, and then still have to do all of these other things, for yourself at the same time. So, divorce is always tough to get through.
Yeah.
There's no book to tell you how to be a single parent because everybody's situation is different, and so for you being that single parent and having to go through divorce, how did you maneuver, that? And then your boys, like, how did your boys take that in too as well? Because, when a parent exits, some parents still co-parent, right? But then you have some of those parents who exit and they just like, they was never there. They disappear, I had that happen for a long time until my daughter became an adult, and I thank God that her and her dad are now talking, but miss all of the years that they should have been there. Right. So how did boys deal with that? And then how did you, because mentally you said it was a lot for you to deal with. So how did you even get through all of that? Because that has to be hard.
I'm just going to say by the grace of God, because I honestly have no idea. I just looking at how my boys were affected. I don't think that it affected them as far as performance and things like that, but I know for a fact that it affected them mentally like it affected me. That's a form of abandonment. And so now if they had never met him or something, that would have been a different, situation. But once I would try to reach out and say, look, just come get your kids or whatever, it was like, okay, I'm coming, or he'll call them and lie, so like I said, it wasn't so much of the absenteeism. It was all the drama that came along with it, all of the lies, all of the deception, and eventually just the full abandonment, because it was years when they hadn't seen their father. In one of the most hurting moments, we were driving up Airline Highway here in Baton Rouge, and there was this random guy standing on side the road across the street, and they were like, I wonder if that's our daddy. And that,
Ooh, I know they had to take the wind out of you.
Girl, it was, that felt so bad. And that day, because of my feelings and the anger, and even one thing about it, through all of those years of what I had to, kind of mask for the children pretty much, I never talked down on him. I never said your daddy ain't this, your daddy this, or none of that. I really kind of tried to keep my mouth off of him for the sake of the children, because one thing I know and believe is that God renews all. And so I didn't want to put any kind of my feelings into them about their dad. And so I didn't do that. But that day, I went home and I called him and I was like, look, this got to stop. You need to see your kids, because they think it's some random dude on side the road is you. They don't even know what you look like. And so even though it really didn't do anything, that was just a moment for me, like, wow, to see how it really affects them. And from that point on, like I said, he really didn't do anything. At some point, maybe about a year or so, while they were about between 6 and 8-ish, he would come and get them. Because I finally just got tired of, going back and forth, and I got one of my family members to step in and talk to him, because the boys were starting to grow up, and take on their personalities and all of that. And we're big on family here in the South. You know that we need to know who our people are. We need to,
Right.
deal with them, whether we like them or not. You know what I'm saying?
That's
We still are big on family. And so, that was one of the major reasons I didn't down talk my kids, and down talk him to the kids, or, just try to make him a villain to them, because I still believe that he deserved to try to make things right on his own. Right. So yeah, that it was very hard. It was very hard to go through that. And like I said, I know that I had to take myself out of it and just let God lead me in all those areas, because I was super angry.
Amen. Oh my gosh, I did see, I was here for a reason. Look, thank you, Lord. I can understand, because the same thing, it's like it took everything in me to not bash. Like, I
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
call everything under the sun to, and tell my child, your dad is a no good this and that
Right.
and blah, blah, blah. But I didn't do that.
Yeah.
And I think, but I want to ask you this question. By you not doing that, did your boys blame themselves? Or used to be like, ask you, well, why does my dad not, does my dad not like me? Does my dad not love me? Why is it me? Did you ever have to go through that? Because I know I did at one point.
We did go through that as they got to be teenagers, when they start to grow up and learn about themselves, and then they start to mingle with other people, outside of the family circle, and they see these same things going on. And so, my kids, I'm not sure how old your child is, but they came up in this generation, and internet, and they're just so mature, so they have conversations with each other that, personally, me as a parent, I'm like, what y'all doing talking? But it did come up, and I just had to really reassure them that it was not them, that was all his decisions, and that maybe one day he would come around and see what he was missing in them, and that it was nothing to do with them. Now, my oldest son took it really hard. He took it really hard. And it's just been a constant battle with him. But God, at the beginning of this year, of 2021, he actually sat down and had a conversation with his dad. And
Wow.
so, yeah. And so he felt so liberated by that conversation. He called me like as soon as they hung up the phone. He was like, Mom, I talked to my daddy. And I was like, you did? And he
Wow.
was like, yes. He was like, I feel so much better, because they got to talk about of course, I would always say you look like your dad, or you get that from your dad and stuff like that. So being able to interact with him, even for that one conversation, he was able to even see a part of himself in his dad. So
Mhm.
that was a blessing. And as we, continue to go through each day, their relationships have grown. And I thank God for that, because like I said, they're 20 years old.
Wow.
And he left when they were 5.
Wow.
And so 15 years of not having any type of contact, or, any dealings with your father is a long time.
Oh, trust me, I know. And then the thing about it, well, and we'll get into this a little bit more because I want to tap into that piece a little bit more about the relationship between the children and their missing parent, and now they're coming back into the picture. So we'll touch on that when we come back from the commercial break.
Okay.
All right, y'all. The bus has left the station, okay? The bus has left. Beep, beep, beep. Believe in Your Dreams TV network has gone global. Look, you can find them on their website. More information about them at www.believeinyourdreamstv.com. And you'll get to see all the amazing shows that they have airing now on Smart TV, Roku, Google, Amazon. Download the app and subscribe and check them out. So again, Believe in Your Dreams TV network, www.believeinyourdreamstv.com, by Dr. Nicole Peters. All right. So Nadia, let's get into the piece about the part about where your son, he felt so good about having this connection. I know he felt like that was a weight lifted off his shoulder, but like you said, there's this big gap, right?
Yeah.
There's a big gap that's missing. All those years where, especially as a father, and you got boys, like, I don't know if your kids play sports or they had special events in school and those kind of things. Those are the parts that daddy should have been there. So,
Right.
but I'm glad to know, like you said, but God, that your oldest got to connect, with his father. But that's still, now the healing begins, right?
Yeah.
Now the healing begins, and it's gonna be something else. I mean, look, I would just
Yeah.
forewarn you, because my daughter, she's 22 now.
Mhm.
She's 22 now, and she still deals with a little bit of that residue, but
Yeah.
she has the conversations. But it's just like, when she goes around that side of the family and then see there's this other family,
Right.
and there's other children that are being taken care of. And, it's always that thought, well, you can take care of me, but you can take care of all these other children, this kind of stuff. She enjoys her time with her father when she's there, but, in the back of her mind, she still battles with, he wasn't there for me like that,
Yeah.
So as a mother, and I know, that's when we have to come in and still encourage and still push for that
Yeah.
relationship to still stay bonded and try to work through that. So how do you think that, you say you're oldest, so how do you think that will look in a couple of years, or what do you think that's going to look like? Has your son even talked to you? And what about your other boys? Do they desire the same thing?
Actually, my younger sons, they are pretty open. They're pretty open to receiving him, even though, all the things that he's kind of taking them through with the lies and all that extraness. But like I said, my older son, he was just like not having it. It was times where he wouldn't even, he would call sometimes and, be trying to wish him Merry Christmas or Happy Birthday or something. He wouldn't even get on the phone. It was to that point. And then, so I had to literally sit him down and just tell him, look, give your dad a chance, give him a chance, because we all have to grow up. And we had y'all we weren't very young, but we were in our early 20s, you know, so we were still growing up ourselves.
Mhm.
And so, you know, just informing them of the circumstance, I think made it a little easier for them to deal with,
Mhm.
you know, day to day. Because, like I said, that when they got to the age where they had friends and they would be talking about, you know, their parents, because they friended for some reason, some friends that they really connected with and got really close with were females, young girls that were in their band, and those young girls had lost their mothers
Mhm.
at an early age. And so that was why they kind of always would have those types of deep conversations about their parents, you know. And so I think that that also helped them, though, you know, because they were able to see we aren't the only ones going through this, you
Yeah.
know. Life doesn't stop right there, because I think that's what my oldest son was really kind of dealing with, like, you know, where do I go from here? That was who he was supposed to be looking toward for guidance, and, you know, all of that. Of course, they appreciate me and recognize the sacrifices that I made for them to be able to be who they are and what they are, but it's still that missing link, you know. And the fact that he's right here, like, he's not dead, he's not in jail, he's not, you know, he free, he riding around, he, you know, doing his thing, and we over here just fending for ourselves, you know. And so I think that was a hard thing for them to accept. But like I said, taking them to church and, you know, putting them around positive men that instill better thoughts into them, and, you know, kind of also taking them out of the situation a little bit, because I was one, like, out of sight, out of mind. So if their dad didn't call or anything, I didn't say anything. You know, I just kind of let it, even if he called me and we got into it, because, you know, back then I was super toxic. Soon as I heard his voice, I was ready to pop off, like, ain't no nice words coming from over here, so I don't even know why you call this phone when you come and get your you know, it was like that, Yolanda. So, you know, it's really been a healing for all of us. um Definitely for me, but, you know, as a mother, we always put our kids first and want them to get the most out of every situation. And so, like I said, just keeping them grounded, letting them know that he's human too. You know, having compassion, even though he's not the one in the right position.
Right. Well, that's good. So that leads into, you know, our topic tonight is what's your superpower? You
Yeah,
know, and I don't care what nobody say. A single parent, I don't care if you're male or female, you are a super being in
yeah,
yourself because you're trying to take care of everything on your own. You know, whether you're a single, you know, mother or father, like I said, because you're taking care of everything. Whereas if it was two parents there, then one would get a break. You don't get a break as a single parent, you know.
at
And if
all.
you get a break, you're asking external friends, you're asking church family members, you're asking somebody, can you watch
Yeah,
my baby? And then it has to be somebody that you really, really trust. Be like, can you
yes,
watch my babies for a little while I just, you know, just take a deep breath and just focus on me for a little bit. You know, you just
yeah,
don't get a break. It never happens, you know.
yeah,
So I mean, forget superpower. This is just super being in itself, right?
yes, yes,
So I want to ask this question though. You know, we talked about your boys, and you know, my prayer is that they continue to build that relationship with their father despite all of the years that have been missed, because they still have a lot of years ahead of them. You know,
yeah,
that's my prayer and my hope is that they continue to build upon what is now beginning to happen. But for you, Nadia, you know, knowing that you went through a divorce, sometimes it's hard for people to move on because they feel like they stuck, and it's like, you know, now I got to start all over, you know. And sometimes people drown themselves in their business so they don't have to think about, you know, divorce or the personal stuff. So let's talk about that for a minute. How do you, you know, go along your healing journey to get to a point to where it's like, you know what, am I okay? Have I allowed myself to grieve my divorce? You know,
Yeah.
am I really okay? Because sometimes people don't take time out to do that because they're putting in all this other stuff, you know. And as
Yeah.
an entrepreneur, we be so busy. When the Lord sits us down and we have to sit down and really think about that thing, it comes down like it's we crashing and burning. So
Yeah.
let's talk about that journey for you for a second.
Yeah. So to be honest with you, it was even hard to work to going through that divorce. Um, like I said, just I think more of it was my children, the fact of the abandonment. Of course, I felt, a certain type of way regarding my personal feelings, but I think the toxicity came, about with my children. And it started to come out while I was working, right? Because of course, being a hairstylist, people feel like they can call you at any moment or they can pop up at the job and all that kind of stuff. And so those were some of the things that were going on. So I would get really, I'm not going to say emotional, angry at work and, just act out, and I may handle somebody bad, you know, and not intentionally, just because of all the things I had going on in my mind. And so when I saw that, because I'm not that person, I feel like I ain't the best. Of course, I'm not perfect, but I feel like I treat people the way that I would like to be treated. And so when I found myself not doing that, specifically one of my aunts was here, and of course I'm still at work, but she was here one evening when I had like a horrible episode with my ex, and we were outside, and I came back in to finish people's hair, and I had a super bad attitude. And she told me, she was like, you need to get some counseling because you're very angry. And, I took it for a laugh at the moment. But then when I got home and sat with that comment, I was like, you know what? She's right. She's right. I am very angry. And then, of course, if you see your money start to dwindle, then something ain't right. When my clients start not returning or, taking longer to come back or whatever, or even just commenting on my situation when it wasn't even going on, is
Right.
like, but you've affected everybody around you with this,
Mhm. Wow.
And so I decided I didn't seek counseling. I did seek God though, at that moment, because I was kind of, I wasn't grounded as I am now. And so my mom, of course, got to talking to me. She's like, you need to go to God. You need to go see Christ, and so that's what I did. And in that process, he sent me to research grief.
Mhm.
And when I researched grief, I found that
Anger
that
was
was what I
oh,
was going through.
mhm.
Yes, I had gone through a few of the steps. I was still working my way up the
That's
steps.
it.
But yeah, I was going through grief, and so I discovered that, of course, grief is not just at the passing of someone, but at the loss of anything, a
That's right.
relationship or anything. And so once I discovered that, started reading more about it, I also started committing myself, my business, my children more to God,
Mm,
because that was the only way I was going to get through raising those 4 children, keeping my business going, and keeping my sanity.
wow.
And once I did that, the shift began. It
Mm,
began in every area. And it just felt like from then on, God had all of us, me and my children, right in the palm of his hand, toting us everywhere we needed to go. And, my kids, all of my children played football, basketball, softball, everything. I kept them busy. Then when they got older, they were in the band, they played back, they still kept that up. The only one that didn't do all that was my baby boy. He's more of the video game,
oh
indoor
yeah.
game. But, still just being also thankful that I had my family to have my back,
Mhm.
because it was times that I just needed to get away. right? And you can't raising 4 children. I don't care what kind of income you have. You can't always just run off on a vacation, because that's what I like to do. I like to go travel. My mom's part of the family is in California, so that is our getaway. We go there and leave it all there and come back home. But you can't always do that as a single parent. So I found myself I still do this, take daycations right in my city. I just go and buy me a good Hilton hotel or Marriott hotel room and be there for the day. Ask my people, look, get them off the bus. I'll see y'all tonight, and just take that whole day and regroup, because my toxicity was spilling over into my children. They were starting to fight a lot, and all the stuff that children do. And then me as an only child, and they're fighting. I'm like, oh my God, you fight for brothers, you fight. Right. And my mom was like, girl, that's what they do. We fought. And she's like, it was 8 of us. I'm like, I'm not used to this. I was begging for a sister or a brother, and this what y'all do. So, but just, going through all of those episodes, and God had us in his hand, carrying us right through.
Wow, I love that you mentioned that, though. Sometimes people don't even, whether they go, when they go through divorces, like they spiral into depression, and it's like, it's in us. It's in us to know how to seek help. We just choose. It's a choice. We choose to decide if we're going to stay depressed. We choose to decide whether we're going to seek God, whether we're going to seek therapy, and all those different things. It's a choice, and so at the end of the day, it's just like you said, you chose, to grow and deepen your relationship with Christ in order to know, what, this is where I need to be. And to be honest, that's where a lot of sense of peace comes from. I mean, just reading a simple scripture about peace, reading a simple scripture about who I am, how God created me, it's so much in that word that will tell you and remind you of who you are and what your capabilities are and what you can do that goes against what the devil wants.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that you took that route, and then, like you said, everything that was happening to you being angry and out of control. Yes, our children, they see and they feel that. Not only see it, but they feel that. And when they feel that, they take ownership of whatever we done spilled out onto them. Yes. And what happens when they take ownership, they're going to take it and they're going to push it off on somebody else.
Yes.
And so, that's one thing we want to try to make sure is that, we're giving them the right tools to be able to combat, what could happen to them in the future. This is how my daughter tells me all the time. She's like, your mama, you're my role model. You're the one that I come to for everything. When I'm dealing with something, majority of the time, I don't think she comes to me for everything, but I'm just saying she comes to me about a lot of life decisions, and so we have to make sure that we stay mindful of exemplifying what should be the right thing to them all the time, because they're going to use that later on in life once they get our age, and we want to make sure that we gave them what was necessary. So I thank God for that you went that route. Now, do you foresee, therapy being a part of your future later on in life, or even in your children's life?
We actually have embarked on therapy. Like I said, my older son, with all that he had going on mentally around the issues with his father, I suggested that he seek out counseling. And then he called me and was like, we need to do family. I don't want to, but I did it.
Come on, that's right.
I did it because, if we want them, we have to be the example. Period, point blank. We have to be the example. And it's not like I didn't need it. It's not like I didn't need it. So it has definitely helped both of us. The other kids didn't get into it because, like I said, they're way more receptive of their father. And I just felt like he had built that wall up so tall to where he was stopping himself from progressing. And, you know, because he just kept that in his mind. I don't know why, but, you know, it just fought him. And so once he did that, and like I said, he was like, "You coming too?" She suggested group. And I'm like, okay. And, you know, at first, of course, I was being an old bullheaded Indian girl and was like, I don't want to do this. How long this going to be? You know how we And but once I got in there, you know, it was like she prayed with us, you know, and it allowed him to open up more. You know, I always like to say me and my boys grew up together, you know, because like I said, I was 22 when I started having kids, you know, so we literally grew up together. That's still very young to be a parent. And so we are very close. And I felt that there was nothing that they couldn't tell me or couldn't come to me about. And, you know, there were some things that he talked about in the therapy that, you know, just brought it home for me and him, you know, because he was able to see on what level of, you know, trust I had in him and that he had in me and in our relationship, and that there was nothing that he could do, say, or anything that would keep me from being his mother, keep me from loving him or supporting him. And so once we got that clear, you know, like I said, he was able to move forward and talk to his dad. Even I was able to do. I'm gonna have to go on and put that plug in there. I was able to call and tell his dad without cussing and fussing and acting a fool.
Look
You
at
know,
God.
look, you need to, right? Exactly. You need to talk to your son. You know,
Right.
and the therapy helped me be able to decipher between my part in everything, which is being kind of the mediator and making sure that the delivery of the message was done properly, because
Right.
it's not always what you're saying, it could be how you're saying it. And I
That's
knew that it was how I was saying it because I was always irate, you know. And
right.
so, you know, being able to just sit back and listen to someone was a good thing.
Amen. That's good. It's amazing how, you know, when you go to a therapist, they'll pull out things in you that you wouldn't even know that was there, or
Yeah,
they're basically like a mirror. They reflect everything back on you, and
yeah,
you'll be like, "That was me.
yeah,
I act like that," you know. And but then at the same time, once you recognize and acknowledge those things, you'd be like saying to yourself, "You know what? I got to do better. I need to do
yeah,
better." It's not about me. It's about my kids. It's about my kids having a relationship with their father. And in order for them to have that relationship with their father, they need to see how you treat their father. You know what I
yes.
mean? So I thank God for that. Well, we're going to go into another commercial break, and we're going to talk about what is Nadia's superpower and what Nadia has going on. You know, what you want to share with the world about what it is that Nadia Francois does. So we'll be right back after the commercial break. And that is Go Fig Company. So look, if you're looking for a company to step your game up in your brand, your automation system, you're looking for conferences, people to work behind the scenes, whatever it is that you need, graphics, I don't care, you name it. Go Fig Company is a company that I highly recommend, and their website is www.gofig.com, www.geauxfig.com. And you know, go means go in Louisiana.
Yeah. Yes, that's us.
Right, that is right. Okay. That is us. So Nadia, look, tell us about this superpower. Could you say what's your superpower? That was a topic for tonight,
Yes.
and we know already that you've shown us you are a super being just by being a strong woman, having to go through your divorce process, still having to be this super power woman, when it comes to being the parent, for your four boys, and then having to take that journey with them to, help them build that relationship with their father, make that connection, and hopefully that connection stays continue building, as years go on. So what's your superpower woman, and tell us what that's about.
So yes, you've heard all of that about me going through my divorce and raising my four children. And during that process, I discovered my superpower. And my superpower is being resilient and also being able to look forward past what is the now. And so that is my visionary aspect and my ability to keep going. So that is my superpower. And it came up as I was going through all of those trials during my divorce. As I stated, I'm a hairstylist, and I also have other businesses, and I sell things, purses, jewelry, different things. And so I would travel to pop up shops and different things to set up my products and things like that. And so one day I was traveling with a group of ladies, and I had been in an anthology prior to that ride. And so God had been tugging on me even before that, just like, you need to do something to unify women. Right. And so I'm like, what? And so, like I said, I was in an anthology for someone else, but also through this process of raising my children and being a witness for other mothers, a lot of people would tell me, girl, you a superwoman, girl, you a superwoman. That just always would come up, once I would tell my story, and I'm like, no, it's all God. It's all God. And so I actually don't care to be called a superwoman, because I feel like that kind of puts us as an overworker. And I don't want to be an overworker, right? Which, I mean, isn't a bad thing, but that's not my play on the superpower. My play on the superpower is our God-given superpower to overcome adversity. And so that's what I got from God in those messages of me being a superwoman, a super mom, and all that good stuff. No, it's all God. And I am able to keep going and keep doing what I do because of my God-given superpower. And so in 2018, I did an author call for a book called What's Your Superpower Anthology. And the book is a compilation of stories of women overcoming adversity and pushing through to their purpose. And so that was the birth of What's Your Superpower. And so it started with the anthology. And then once we launched the anthology in 2019, I was offered the TV series. And it originally was to showcase the authors in the book and, keep that going and all of that. But then once I started doing an open call for other women that was just going through or have gone through things and have overcome, the response was just overwhelming. And so, of course, with TV, you only get so much time. So I couldn't put everyone on the TV. And that's how the podcast, Power Conversations podcast, was birthed. And there was also the need of visibility platforms for women and their books and their coaching programs and, their businesses. And so I was like, a magazine would go great with this podcast and, the TV, all that I have going, especially stepping out into the digital world. You're like, I want to make sure I hit all areas. And so that's what I was doing when I brought about the podcast and the magazine, because of course, I feel like the book And the TV series is more of a seasonal thing, but I wanted to do something that kept it going, always led up into the book and the series. So that is what birthed What's Your Superpower Digital Media Publishing Company, where we, like I said, have our TV series. We also offer streaming services to content creators that have their own shows. And I'm sorry, people trying to chime in on my convo, but so that is what birthed that. So we do the TV series. Like I said, we also offer airtime to our minority content creators that have empowering content. And we also have, like I said, the podcast. I allow podcast interviews for complimentary. And then I also do book discussions on my podcast. And so those are offered to anthology visionaries to come on and tell about their book, bring their co-authors. And, in my shows, we have a good time, kind of like what we're doing here, and we just tell about an instance of overcoming adversity and then propelling into your purpose, and how we do that. With females, faith and fulfillment is our theme. And so that's pretty much what the model I follow with the TV series, the podcast, and then the magazine is just the icing on the cake, where you can get featured, feature your business, get some digital covers and just be visible, and then a credible source of visibility. So that's what I do.
And look, you do a lot, and you still ain't telling everything. I mean, you just had the awards you just did.
So that was a part of my nonprofit. So during all of my going through, I'll say, God brought myself and some of my clients, my dear best friends, to come together. It seemed like a every Friday thing we would start doing, of course, in this beauty shop, with me doing their hair and we drinking our daiquiris and just spilling the beans on life, on motherhood, parenting, wifehood, relationships, whatever. And it just came to a point where it's like, look, we need to let other women in on this, because, it was helpful. It was like, we would say things like, does your son have stuff all over the place and then act like it's just not there? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, oh, because I thought it was just me. And so, it was just time to let all of that stuff out, realize that you are not the only one going through things, that, some of the things that you're going through is just that stuff you're gonna go through, And so we found ourselves opening up Sisters of Empowerment social organization, where we network, give back, and empower the community. We started with the children with our Mr. and Miss Empowerment pageant, which is a confidence building pageant to help the kids break those barriers of shyness, stage fright, different things like that. Also teach them hygiene, teach the guys how to tie a tie, all kind of stuff that we've done with those children, and then bring in positive role models for them to see. We've done a summer camp. We've done several school supply giveaways. And then once we kind of got the children under wraps, it was like, look, these moms are broken, and broken moms produce broken children. So we need to love on these moms and show them that it's just not all about being a mother, but you have to pull that time for yourself, do your self-care. And so we started implementing different things for the moms, and we came up with Women's Empowerment Week. And, because we were doing so much and it was getting very tiring to keep all of those different things going. So we decided to streamline our program offering and only do certain things at certain times of the year and continue to do it over and over. That way, we'll know every March we have Women's Empowerment Week. Every October, we're doing Domestic Violence Awareness Week. Every, this or that, every August, we're doing school supply giveaway. Every June, we give away scholarships to graduating high school seniors for their books. So, just streamlined all of that. And then we implemented mentoring of the female entrepreneur, of course, my give back. And then a lot of our members are female entrepreneurs, and they also agreed to help the next entrepreneur. So God just laid it all out. And that is how we came about with the Empower Diva Awards, which highlights and spotlights these amazing women doing great things, community leaders, entrepreneurs, whoever they are in the South Louisiana. This year, we opened it up internationally and had a wonderful, wonderful turnout. We had about 35 honorees. And we did it in person and virtually. So it was amazing. It was really wonderful.
Good stuff. Look at that. See, y'all see this super powerful woman is doing some great things. Now, keep in mind, she said she don't want to be labeled as that because then she'll be doing
Look, I'm going to be overworked, y'all. I'm tired. I done raised all them children. I don't want to, be around nothing that sound extra.
Well, Nadia,
it's well.
That you decided to be my special guest tonight. We got about 4 minutes left to the show, and I just want you to give at least some type of encouragement to someone who may be in the midst of divorce or who is still trying to recover from going through divorce and get on track to their healing journey. What is it that you would say to that individual? And then we'll close it out with you also telling people how they can connect with you.
Yes, ma'am. So what I will say to someone that may be going through a divorce or may be about to go through a divorce or whatever, any type of loss, to be honest, keep going. Keep going. Don't let what you see make you forget the promises of God on your life.
Amen.
Because a lot of times, we can only see what we're going through. And I want you to also remember the key word of through. Through. We go through things, because if you don't go through them, that means you're letting them stop you. So keep going, keep pushing. Some things in life we go through because of circumstance. Some things we egg it on. We make ourselves go through it. But once you decide to take control, take responsibility for your part in whatever it is you're going on, because we can't control what other people do. If I haven't learned anything over the past 15 years and going through what I've gone through in my relationship, is we can't control another grown person. We can only control ourselves. So try to be the best you, and I'm going to take the word try, because I always tell my clients, don't use the word try. Do it. Be the best that you can be. Be the best you that you can be. Treat people how you would like to be treated. Put your hand in God's hand and walk the walk. That's all you can do. Amen. And as far as those that have young children, I want to encourage you as well that they don't stay young forever. They grow up, and then they are testaments of what you have put in them. So make sure that you are filling them with good things, that you are filling them with positivity, that you're filling them with know-how to make it without you. And so that is my words of encouragement for the audience today. I hope that this helps someone. I hope that you are able to see past what you're going through and know that God has something very special for you on the other side of it.
Amen. Great words of encouragement, especially to keep pushing and, just allowing, the part about you saying, put your hand in God's hand and just let him keep leading, and then the part about your children, just encouraging them. They're going to see and they're going to replicate whatever you pour into them. So you want to make sure that whatever it is something positive, even in the midst of a negative situation.
Yes, absolutely.
So how can everybody connect with Miss Nadia Francois out of the boot?
Yes, y'all connect with me on my website, of course, www.nadiafrancois.com. I am on all social media platforms as Aries International, HEIRESSINTL International. I also have my What's Your Superpower TV and anthology pages. You are welcome to come on and follow me there. On Instagram and Facebook, it's WYSPTV.
Awesome. Yay. Thank you so much for being on my show and being my special guest, Miss Nadia. I know we'll stay connected because look, when it's time I come to Baton Rouge,
Yes.
I'll let you know when I'm sliding through so we can go grab some good food, connect,
Yes,
and
ma'am.
have a good conversation. Look, I might even have to come get my hair done. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying?
Come on, girl. Come on. We ready. Ready
So-
for it all. The food, the hair, the combo, all that.
No, that's right. Hey.
Yep.
Well, thank you so much. And those of you who are just now tuning in or who joined in late, make sure you go back and watch the replay from the beginning. Miss Nadia Francois came and shared her story about, going through divorce and how she was able to go along in that journey of healing along with her sons, and also allowing her son to reconnect, her oldest one to reconnect with the father, and hopefully the rest of them will, follow same suit as well. So make sure you go back and watch the replay. Tune into the Dr. Yolanda Jerry Show every Thursday, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We always have great guests on the show, and you just never know what word you might get that evening. So again, tune in every Thursday, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And if nobody has told you that they love you today, know that I love you, but most of all, God loves you. So take care, have a blessed one, and we'll see you again next week.